my name is Aftiam, and you guys signed up or are here to be a part of I.AM a brand. And the reason I named it that is because my name is I.AM. And you'll see a theme of I.AM throughout the entire presentation. And so, there'll be time for questions, but if something just really stands out to you, I'm all about a little bit of crowd work, so let's get started. So today's agenda, we're going to go through a little bit of who I am, why I'm talking to you guys about branding. I'll also discuss discovery. So when we go through this, it's going to be kind of like a sales process. So we'll do a quick question. How many people have taken sales training? Okay. So for those who haven't, we'll spend some time there. That's where we spend majority of our time in sales. And really what I want you guys to walk away with is, how do I sell myself? So doing the discovery, and then how do you present that? Is that like what you want to put out, what people are perceiving? So in person and online, since we work in such a virtual world. And then we'll do a quick summary, make sure everybody has all of their questions answered. And so let's get going. Oop, wrong way. So my name's Aftiam. Like I mentioned, I am a child of immigrants. My parents moved over here from Libya. And so just going through that transition of two different cultures, love to share that because I had to define who I am as a Libyan American. And I have always lived in Georgia, but I moved to Tampa a couple years ago. And when I came down here, it's really tough to break into the tech scene when you're not a techie. So when I found the Tampa Bay devs, and we love Vincent, he took me in with open arms. It was an amazing situation where I was like, I don't feel like an outsider. So I love this group, love this community, felt the same way when I came to B-Sides. I was like, wow, these people are fantastic. I think I'll stay. And the reason why I want to be able to chat about this in a sales technique is that I have been awarded several 100% up above your quotas and things of that nature. Been really successful to the point where they sent me overseas to train people. So that's me with my London, German, and Amsterdam counterparts doing sales development training. And we used to make 100 dials a day. So when you're on the phone with people, constantly prospecting, trying to get something from them, you learn a little bit of how to present yourself in 5 seconds because people will hang up on you. They will say something to you. And that feedback is important. And how to take that and grow and be better and make yourself the person that you see yourself to be. So using those I am statements. And so why is personal branding important? First and foremost, it's because when you build your personal identity, you can get your foot in the door. Majority of the jobs that I've had, I've been referred into by a friend, somebody that I did group projects with in my school, and then it's from there, referrals. So getting your foot in the door, increase visibility. So when people start to see you online, see you in these events in person, they're like, who is this person? We know what they're about, what they're trying to do. I've always found the more I talk about what I'm trying to do, the more I find people who can help me. So when you're talking, hey, I'm trying to get into cybersecurity, I'm trying to go into a different role, finding people to connect you with those resources is perfect. And you can do that both online and in person. So we'll discuss that further. And then building your network. So when you've been in the industry forever, perhaps you've met a bunch of people, but when you're first starting out, and we'll do a little question for everybody, who's in their 0, so if you haven't gotten a job in cybersecurity, to 2 years, raise your hand. Okay. 2 to 5 years. Okay. 5 to 10. Anybody 15 plus? All right. So hopefully we'll be able to go through if you guys want to come sit, there are plenty of chairs. Yep, don't be shy. It'll be much more fun. So hopefully everybody will be able to take away something that they can go learn about themselves and hopefully help your career. We're going to keep it real focused on career, professional life. So first thing I like to do is put you in the center. Who are you when you start using, oh no. When you start using I am statements, I am a cybersecurity professional. I am going to fix this problem. Let's see. Interesting. Oh, I think it just restarted. Perfect. Look at that. Maybe? I think so. Cable is pretty secure. Oh, okay, perfect. So, as I mentioned, we'll spend a lot of time in discovery using those statements. I am a cybersecurity analyst. I am a scuba diver. I am a sales professional. I am a successful sales professional. So then you can start to understand, okay, if I am a cybersecurity analyst, I'm looking for cybersecurity analyst positions. And you can find yourself with other people, or I see myself as a chief security officer. You can start talking to people about that. How do I get to that role? What's the progress? Because you're not going from 0 to 100. So walking through that and having people help you along the way. So, oh man, it really doesn't like me today. It's grown? Okay. So taking all of that knowledge about who you are and then what you find acceptable in culture. I personally prefer a hybrid type position. I've worked both, where I've worked in person and I've worked fully remote. Love a good hybrid. I'm fully remote right now, but I get to go out and see my clients, so it fits me. And then once you figure that out and you start applying for those jobs, you start asking those questions throughout interviews to figure it out. And we'll talk a little bit about how adding context is super important to that. Because you don't want to come into a job interview and be like, hey, I got to go scuba diving like 3 times a year, so what's my time off schedule? It's just like, How about asking them in a different way, like, hey, are you guys a team that likes to travel? What does that look like for, taking time off? What's the process? Is it easy? Is it not? Let them share with you and figuring that out. And that's kind of where you'll be able to pitch yourself. So, okay, well, that's really great that you guys have that culture. I enjoy traveling because we love to bring in a little bit of personality into a job interview or even networking with folks. A lot of people are like, how do I even meet people? What do you do for work? What are you excited to see at this conference? Asking those questions, getting them to open up. What do you guys like to do outside of work? You can build up and get to know people and find people that have similar interests. And then after you pitch yourself, the company makes the offer, sends you a contract, you start negotiating, reviewing the proposals, and then you land the job, whether that's a promotion, getting your first job, transitioning into something else. And, wrong way. All along the way, people are going to give you feedback. Hey, we love to have you, but you're asking for too much money. Okay, maybe you're in a market or you just went to a company that doesn't have that money to give. We don't all have Porsche budgets. Sometimes we got to buy the Kia. It's fine. It gets you from point A to point B. But taking that, adjusting where you're searching, how you're searching, and how you network with people. So let's dive in further. When it comes to discovery, I'm all about intention. That's why I keep using those I am statements. I am going to speak at B-Sides today. I'm going to meet a lot of really wonderful people. I'm going to have a good time. I'll be tired by this, but trying to figure out, okay, I'm in cybersecurity. Where do I want to be in? When you meet these folks, they're going to be either working for one of 2 companies. They're going to be sellers of technology, so think about Splunk, Orca, things that actually produce technology that people consume. That's that second part. So do you want to be a consumer of technology? Because you can do jobs in both. And the first one, you might have a job like consulting, sales engineer. And the second, you're going to be a security analyst, things of that nature. Not to say the first don't have those, but you're going to be considered a part of their sales team. And when we talk about in-person branding, it's a very different side over there versus perhaps if you're just an in-house team that works in a SOC, never sees the light of day, doesn't talk to anybody. So, and then when we also think about what do we want to be known for, I love to ask people feedback from what did they say about me? What did they think about that interview? Even people who are close friends, what do you think about how I was presenting myself at that networking event? How did I do? And letting them give you feedback. It sucks to receive negative feedback, but I would take all of it, all of the good and the bad. So we'll talk more about that. And then, let's see. you don't have to experience everything firsthand. So when I think about insourcing, outsourcing, if you see somebody doing something really cool and you love to be a part of that, maybe that's something you add to it. See somebody else fall or go through a job position that you don't think you would like, maybe that's not the position you go for. So insourcing and outsourcing those experiences to see, because sometimes I'll tell people about my scuba diving adventures, and they're like, oh my God, that is so scary. I couldn't imagine being that deep underwater in a big ocean. And then other people are like, wow, that's cool, tell me more. So figure out what that is for you in jobs, even experiences travel-wise. It's a great way to find out what people are doing. And then something that I like to think about is, I got this advice one time from my mom's friend. She said, you and my daughter work very hard in school and very hard to get your jobs. But, this was relation to dating, she goes, but I don't see you put that same type of level of effort to understanding what you want in a partner. So we'll just remove that and say, what do you want in yourself? Write it out. What does good look like? What kind of life do you want to live? Maybe you don't have to create a vision board, but that was pretty popular since we're doing nostalgia. We'll go back to vision boards and how do we get there? Take out a magazine, put it out there, see what you want to do. It's crazy what, putting out what you can get put back in and how people will help you to get there. So write it out, treat it like a complex math problem. There is this philosophy called Ikigai by the Japanese, where you go through this discovery of how you can have purpose in the world. I'm not here to talk about religion. I'm not here to talk about anything like that. This is just for, more of the vocation side piece of it. So what jobs have you done in the past? What have you liked about them? What have you not? Who do you aspire to be like, and how can you get there? And so, we want to figure out what we can get paid for. It's the only reason we take jobs, and to help people out. And then figuring out what you're good at. What do people constantly compliment you about? Hey, you're really great at finding these hidden bugs. Super. Keep that. Let me see what else I'm good at. And just asking people, hey, what do you think I'm good at? It's a weird question to ask, but when you have people, mentors, leaders, your managers, it's a little bit easier because they have to tell you. But finding that, asking your friends, where do you think I struggle or could be better at? And understanding that way. And then, bringing all of that in together to understanding who you are, what you can provide to this universe, and then you figure out your job and your brand and how you can then present yourself. If you don't understand it, you won't be able to sell it. Oop, wrong way. I'm going to keep doing that. So let's talk about in-person branding. When you meet somebody, you get 4 out of the 5 senses. You're going to see them, you're going to smell them, you're going to hear them, and 4 out of the 5. No? Anyways, we'll keep it going. So make sure that when people see you, it's how you want to be presented. How do you look? Are your clothes a representation of where you're trying to be? I think it's super important to go and try things on. I have a couple of outfits that I know for interviews and for sales positions where I'm just comfortable. I never wear anything new to an interview because you don't know how you're going to sweat in it. You don't know how you're going to feel in it sitting, so moving, doing things of that nature. And then when you also want to sound confident, I always say put your chest out, put your head on straight. And when you look good, you feel good. We used to do this thing in business school where it's dress for success. So on test days, you would dress up and get extra credit. But then when you get to your senior year, a lot of people are just like, I just feel like dressing up. I look good, I do well. So doing that. And then most people are not good at something the first time they do it, just plain and simple. So if it's your first time giving this speech or introducing yourself to somebody or telling a story, there's so many variabilities. So practicing it. Practice with your friends, practice with your coworkers. Anytime I had a big, important meeting, I would grab somebody, like this is the importance of finding some work friends, somebody, a manager. Hey, can I just go through? This meeting is very important to me, and I want to make sure I do well. Can you listen to me and give me feedback? Being receptive to that feedback, again, even if it's negative. Okay, I didn't like that. I didn't think I did that, but if that's how they're perceiving it, somebody else might feel the same way. So I practice out my stories. I've told that story about my friend's mom a million times as to how to focus and try to think of yourself as a complex math problem, writing it out, putting that vision board, figuring out where you want to go. And then after you've practiced your stories and what you want to share, because professionally sharing versus personal sharing, I like to have a very good line in what stories I share with people, what I do. Some people share more than others. That's for you to figure out what your comfort level is. But after you've practiced it and gone and told people, you go to these networking events and you start meeting folks, like I know who I can talk to about traveling, who I can talk to about concerts, who would be good about restaurants, and just having these different people, and then they're like, oh, I think you told me that you wanted to do this type of job. So-and-so was just telling me about one. Connected, boom. So when it comes to those events, and just bringing that energy, if you're not in the mood to go, people will know. So just don't go. Like, if you don't have to, but if you're gonna go, bring that energy, bring that passion. When you find out what you really love, and hopefully you guys are getting this too about scuba diving, I love it, I love to travel. You can talk to me about it, I won't say no. And then one thing that's interesting, we'll get to a little bit on the next slide, is how to dress yourself properly and how to make sure that you look good so you feel good. Is that you can ask ChatGPT, you can upload a photo, you can ask it, hey, I have this color skin tone. You have to pay for the extra one, but there are other things. I have this skin tone, what colors look great with me? I have this type of body shape, what type of clothes should I wear? And it will tell you. I used to have to go to Macy's and ask the lady, do you think this looks good? No. Do you think this looks good? Yes. We should wear this, we shouldn't wear that. And I'll tell you one thing too, is a lot of people won't tell you when something's bad, or if you're, and this isn't meant to upset anybody, nobody will tell you you're fat, but when you've lost a lot of weight, they will let you know. They will let you know. So it's the same way when you look good. A lot of people will let you know when you look good. And so here are the examples of different types of body shapes for both male, female, non-gender binary. This is just a graph of what, everybody grab their pictures, what you can ask ChatGPT and even just the internet as to, hey, I have a triangle shape. My husband has an inverted triangle shape. What kind of clothes should we buy? What shapes? And then you can do research. I'm all about, though, going to the stores, because I grew up when people went to the mall when we were in school and had fun, and different fashion montages were the thing for us to do. So, if you can't do all of that or don't feel comfortable with it, figure it out, try it at home. I'm all about just sit in the clothes, wear it for an afternoon. Do something that makes you nervous if you're gonna wear that to an interview so you know how you're sweating in it. And then also, lift your arms, go down, bend over. You don't wanna have a plumber situation where people are like, oh, that shirt does not fit that person. And so figuring out what shape, trying different clothes on, making sure you look good, and present yourself the way that you want others to see you. And oftentimes, there are technical skill sets, but people can be taught that. If you don't have personality, look where they want you to be in front of leadership, they want you to be in front of the clients, or they want you to be in front of these other teams doing your administrative stuff, sometimes you lose out to somebody who just put in 1% more effort that morning. Another great thing that ChatGPT can tell you what colors may look best on you. These are just some examples. I tried to get a good variety of folks and different skin tones. Do you wear darker clothes? And then if you're not willing to do all of this, when somebody tells you that color looks great on you, that's my color. Perfect. What colors can I wear that are similar to that? Or we can learn some color theory, opposite end of the color spectrum. That looks really great. So you can do it as technology savvy as you may want to, or just by word of mouth, what people are saying, because people will stop you to let you know that you look good. And then please, 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 do not forget the business and business casual. The amount of times where I will go to an event where it is marked business casual and people, and it's very professional to, to show up and looking great, and they're wearing t-shirts or cargo pants or ripped jeans or something of that nature. So I'm all on the fan of dressing up more than less, but what I can say is basic Florida business casual. You got chino shorts, golf shorts, polo, khakis, polo, and if you're gonna wear a t-shirt, please make sure it's clean. If it has been on the floor and you have cats, I promise you I will be able to smell it. I promise you I'll be able to smell it. And other people will too, so let's not have that be our brand. I love my cat. She does not go on my clothes. And then for women, similar. Skirts, pants, polos, button-ups, scoop necks, things of that nature. And I always say, if you don't know, just wear a solid color type of shirt. If you want to wear a graphic shirt, like here at B-Sides we're wearing our graphic tees, it's less casual. But if you're going to go to something, a business function, your company is hosting, plain t-shirt, clean, let's emphasize on that. And if it needs to be ironed, take that extra step. I promise you, people can tell. So just making sure you look great and having some of those staples. I always say, have either khakis, black pants, black shorts, navy pants, navy shorts, or skirts. We'll just say / short skirts. And let's see, black, navy, khaki, and then some polos or some t-shirts, button up, something where you look professional and for the job that you want to. I'll just say, a lot of people get that extra edge just by looking the part. You do want to be able to speak the technology, but here we're talking about branding and how you look right in person. And then shoes, I think it really depends on where this event is taking place. If it is a restaurant, sneakers are clean, something of that nature. Loafers are always good, so if you're trying to impress people and you want to get to that level, super heels and things of that nature. As long as you're comfortable, if you're not going to be able to walk, it may be best that you wear something that you can walk in. All right, let's keep this train going. So how do you sound confident? Since the first thing is going to be is people are going to see you, and then the second thing is they're going to hear you. And this goes for virtually as well as in person. The easiest way to break the ice is with a smile. Just smiling at folks, having a good time. When you're having a good time, they'll have a good time. And the energy flows. And then even on a Zoom or over the phone, especially if you have to deliver some difficult news, smile through it. They may not be able to see you, but if you're smiling, it'll feel less intense. Like, I'm not saying, you're fired, smiled, but it's just like, hey, we had this happen. It was ticket didn't get taken care of. We missed a deadline. You're still smiling, but you're like, we're going to get there and finding that solution. And then when we think about fillers, things like, so, sometimes being able to just pause provides more power than it would be to fill that extra silence. And when you pause, a lot of times it invites somebody else to speak. And if you're trying to get that person to be your referral, be your friend, instead of having to ask them, they're just going to start to fill that silence. Maybe they've been waiting for you to pause. You don't have to talk through the whole thing. And then, I said it earlier, shoulders out. You'd be so surprised how much more oxygen you can get to speak and sound confident. When you do that, people think about your posture. It's like, okay, that person looks like they're meant to be here and they know what they're doing. And then, practicing. And then if you need additional tips, I highly suggest, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, but YouTube Charisma on Demand. Also, how to make friends or win friends and influence people. Great books to understand, okay, what is the psychology behind it? How can I present myself and make these friends? And then online branding. So similar to what I mentioned about how you dress and what's appropriate for a work call, you're just from the half up, unless you do standing in your Zoom meetings. Polos, clean t-shirt. I might not be able to smell your cat, but if I can see the hair of your cat, again, just that one extra edge of being put together. And one thing that I'll say is whenever I'm presenting, I'm looking at the camera rather than the Zoom to see the people. When other people are talking, I do want to see the reactions, but it makes you look like you're looking at them when you look directly into the camera versus off to the side, or if you're looking at the people on the Zoom call. And then I highly suggest Googling yourself. It's one of my favorite things to go find information about people that I will be associating with, my coworkers. If I can find a picture of you from 1998 or early 2000s, gold. But you guys should know what's out there about yourself. I have a unique name, so I have Google alerts anytime my first name or my last name gets used, and if they both get used together. Some people that may not be possible, but you can try to bring it in and at least do a quick Google search. And then you can also look to see if you want to get any data removed, because we have the right to delete. And then when we think about online branding, it's also, what are we posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram? Who are you also commenting on? Because if it's associated with your name or your profile and you are hazing somebody in a very negative way, I can find it. Somebody else will be able to find it. And again, if they have a good team that goes and looks up their folks that they're hiring, it could be between you and somebody who didn't do that. So just be mindful of who that is, who you're interacting with, and how you can keep that etiquette while you're online. We'll do a quick example on how to create an email, and then we'll also talk a little bit more about talked about Zoom, so let's keep it going. So when I was developing this, I have two mentors through the Executive Women's Forum. They asked me, I don't know really how to lead a meeting, how to participate in a meeting, or how to send an email. So we're going to start with this email first. Always want to put a subject line. What are you talking about? Quick sentence. Think if you were going to post it to Twitter, boom, that's what it would be. Greeting. I know you want to get to the point, but people like a hello. They like a little personal. It makes you more likable. What do you want from them? Why would they want to give you this information? Because, they're busy. Just because it's your number one project does not mean it's their number one project. And then always put your contact information. Sometimes things are easier done over the phone. Let them call you so you can figure it out. And then please don't reply all in all company emails unless that's your company culture. And then make sure your timing. So Mondays are typically when support tickets are getting taken care of. So maybe asking somebody for something that's not high priority, let them come back from the weekend. And then your follow-ups. Again, your number one priority may not be their number one priority. Follow up, make sure you get what you need in a professional manner. So when leading a meeting, we don't want anybody being falling asleep in here. So I always do introductions, a little icebreaker. Who am I? Who's in the room? Making sure that what we're going to talk about is important for everybody that's in that room. So this is just advice, if that person doesn't need to be there, they probably have better things to do. So limiting the amount of people will keep it interesting, keep the conversation where it needs to go, and leaving time for questions so that they can add their input. If you're asking for feedback, let them give you feedback. And then I start with the intention, and then I wrap it up with a summary so people know. And then when participating in a meeting, please don't be the people in the bottom left. Be engaged. Or limit your multitasking so that you don't have to make that person be like, okay, do they really need to be in there? I don't like that about that person. This is my time. I want you to be paying attention. So, when you do participate as well, make sure it's on topic. There's nothing worse than having somebody derail just because, we're talking about project A, but all you can think about is project B. You're going to have to hold. You're going to have to wait. Do not derail just because it's your number one priority. People don't like that. People promote people that they like. So, focusing on what's the task at hand, the intention, the purpose of that meeting. And then, let's see, your nonverbal cues are super important. If you see somebody falling asleep, if you see somebody who's not engaged and just eyes rolling to the back of their head, they're so pissed about the subject, they don't agree with it, it's just again, it could be that this is, what's important to them, and maybe your feedback has been tried before. So finding a professional manner to deliver negative feedback is something we'll go through in just a moment. But yeah, not interrupting. Allow your people to talk. Give them the space and the respect that you would want when you're doing your meeting. So similar to leading a meeting, it's also participating. And be positive, you know. Just because you think that they're not doing well, you know, it may not be your problem. I hate to say it like that. Or it may become later your problem. Just find a way, because you can deliver any message, just figuring out the right way where it'll be taken and perceived well. So gratitude is the best attitude. I appreciate all of you guys for being here. You all got notes on your chairs that are thanking you for being here, because it's amazing and impactful for me that you're here. And then also, when you're giving feedback, being able to start on the positive helps brace the blow for when you want to talk about rooms or places for improvement. Because, hey, I don't want to be like at a work meeting and have somebody tell me, you did this bad, you did this, I was so terrible, it was negative. It's just like, well, dang, I really suck at this. Instead, hey, you did this really well. We could, you know, focus a little bit more on not interrupting people during meetings, or providing space for people to share what they need to and not cutting them off. And I would love for you to continue providing feedback, because you're your valued employee and what you have to say matters. But if you could, not do it when you interrupt people. It's much better than saying, stop interrupting people. And then the power of a thank you note. When you go to interviews, I think it's so impactful to come prepared with a thank you note for your recruiter, for the people you talk to, if you can do it. I sometimes carry blank thank you notes just in case somebody does something wonderful for me, or a client, anything like that. Thank you. Because you could be anywhere else. There's so many other amazing talks going on right now, but you're here. So, you know, take that same thing with people in in meetings. And I'll get to your question in just one moment. We're about there. So I put some bonus tips. So in sales, we try to target for Tuesdays and Thursdays, because on Mondays, you got, the tickets that came in from over the weekend. I want to be able to finish them out, support. If you don't have somebody that works over the weekend, maybe you're tired, maybe the big game happened, and it doesn't have to be just football. It could be somebody's D&D game that happens on Sunday nights. So Monday's just a little bit of a drag, and then coming into Tuesday, people have gotten whatever cleared out of their inbox, a little bit more perceptive. So even when you're applying for jobs, it's the same type of way. Everybody kind of feels that Monday. And then pace yourself. A lot of people want to be in these amazing roles like the chief security officer. That's awesome. Or you think you want to be a director. But if you're just starting off your career, or maybe you have some more growing to do before you can do that, allow for it. Give yourself some grace. You may not be ready for that job as much as you think, or that team may not be ready for you as well, because they don't want to have to train everybody up. So keep that in mind. And then in these networking events, you can meet so many folks who can provide referrals and connect you with other people. You just have to tell people, though, what are you looking for? What are you trying to do? Hey, I'm trying to get the certification. Oh, I actually know somebody who just took that. You should connect with them. And then they can also get you a referral. And be that person too. If you have a job, share it so you can bring in your friends. It's so much easier working with friends. And then you can apply through LinkedIn, you can apply through Indeed, but I will say is that just like there's phishing emails, there are phish job posts. My rule is if it's not on their website, it might not be real. It might. It's a risk. So going and getting it directly, and then just, you don't want to go on a job board and like spray and pray either. Like if you go to Raymond James, they have a bunch of jobs posting on there, and if you're going from tier 1 all the way to, tier 5 or however far up they go, they're just going to see a bunch of resumes. This person doesn't know what they're trying to do. Move on. So find one job. You can apply to maybe another one, and I try to do a 6-week period, but it's different for everybody. And with that, we'll wrap it up. So starting with the intention, what are you trying to get out of today's conference? Is it to meet one more person? That's a completely reasonable goal. Is it to meet somebody who has perhaps a job opening for you? Understand where maybe you want to go. Am I a red teamer? Am I a blue teamer? Am I sales? Am I a consultant? I don't know. Figuring that out. And then, figure out how to dress for success. It's whatever makes you feel comfortable. keep the business and business casual, look good, feel good, be good, and then know what you're talking about. So again, through practicing, you can sit in front of a mirror, you can write it down, say it to nobody. I used to talk to my cat and tell her things. I used to teach my mom about the cloud because I had no idea what I was doing and she didn't know it either. So I was like, if I can get you to understand it, I can sell it. And yeah, just stay consistent with meeting these people. You can't go like one event and then a year later show up, expect people to know who you are. And make those friends. It's much easier when you have people who like the same things as you and are working with you to help you be better. So I know you had a question, so now's the best time.